Coming up, a memoir about living the dream in France.
A literary gothic thriller set at a summer camp.
Plus our distraction of the week. I'm Mel.
I'm Dave. This is the Library of Lost Time.
I'm just a few chapters into the new memoir, A Season for That, by Steve Hoffman. But I can say with confidence that this is a keeper.
How so?
The author is really good at describing what he loves about France and how challenging it is when reality kind of butts up against the dream.
Can relate.
As a day job, he has mostly been a tax preparer, but he's also a food writer. And he's no slouch in the food writing department. He won a James Beard Award in 2019 and a slew of other food writing honors.
That's quite a combination of skills there.
I know, he's a really interesting guy.
Yeah.
Like many of us, he learned French in high school and fell in love with the idea of France. When he was in his 20s, he even lived in Paris for a while. But then fast forward a few decades, he's a full-on adult living in Minnesota with his wife and 2 kids, and this still flickering desire to live in France.
Sure.
His kids went to the local French school, so they were immersed in learning the French language. And then he was like, why not use their language skills to live the good life in France for a while? So he and his family packed themselves off to Autignac in southern France. Population, 800.
Wow. That would explain why I've never heard of it.
Yeah.
800 French people.
Yeah.
Huh.
So the book opens. This is a brilliant opening. The book opens with a family gathered around a cafe table after their first tour of the town. And I just want to read you a little bit because it hooked me.
Okay.
What do you think? Asked Mary Jo. A knife edge of Mediterranean sunlight sliced the central square in two. To our right, in a hot wedge of shade, the white plastic tables and chairs outside the Café du Commerce were talkatively half occupied. 2 bikes leaned against the nearest table. A pair of men sat across from each other in tight jerseys and half shorts, with 2 glasses of white wine sweating on the table between them. I think it's a perfectly beautiful village, I said. It's just not a particularly beautiful village. So that faint praise launches into a story about what should be the simple act of ordering lunch. And it is equal parts hilarious and heartbreaking. Their formerly useful French just completely betrays them. To their dad's disappointment, the kids order cheeseburgers and Cokes, which are, of course, served sans ice, which is a huge disappointment to everyone. He's trying to still roll with it and be as French as possible.
Right.
So he orders the cuttlefish, which he says tastes like an ocean-infused dumpling. The kids eventually push their cheeseburgers to the side. They don't like the cheese that's on them. They don't like the mayo for the French fries. This is all going terribly wrong. He's still trying to reclaim this lunch. So he tries to sip his beer with what he hopes is insouciance, and his cafe chair overturns, dumping man, beer, and glass loudly onto the pavement.
Oh, no.
Welcome to your new home.
Oh, no. Literally dumped on his butt in his new home.
100%. One of the things I find really refreshing about his writing is that his heart is really open about how much he wants to live in France and how much he loves the French culture. And things really don't go smoothly at first. If you're looking for an escape to France in the company of an engaging, thoughtful writer who really loves food and wine, this is the summer read of your dreams. It's A Season for That, Lost and Found in the Other Southern France by Steve Hoffman. I should also mention that his wife, Mary Jo Hoffman, is also an artist and author. She recently released a photography book called Still, The Art of Noticing. Each page features a photograph of something from nature, a single fiddlehead fern, a feather, a perfect mushroom that looks like it popped out of a fairy tale, a shell, and they're photographed like precious jewels.
Oh.
It's a really beautiful book.
That sounds lovely.
That one is Still, The Art of Noticing by Mary Jo Hoffman.
My book is also an excellent summer read. It's The God of the Woods by Liz Moore. This is a suspense novel that reads like literary fiction. It starts with the disappearance of a teenage girl from a summer camp in 1975. One morning, a camp counselor goes to look for her, but there's just an empty bunk. That girl is the daughter of the wealthy family who owns the camp.
Oh.
So stakes are a little bit high.
Yeah.
They're the Van Laars family. And the daughter is not the first person from the Van Laars family to disappear.
Whoa.
Her older brother went missing 14 years earlier, and he's never been found.
Oh, that's really sad. It's a great setup for a book, but it's very sad.
It is. But yeah, the novel jumps back and forth in time as it unravels both mysteries. We get to know the Van Laar family and their dark secrets, and we get a lot of camp life. There's swimming and hiking and sing-alongs and creepy legends around the campfire and everybody sneaking around after dark. There's a map in front of the book that shows the layout of the camp. I love a pre-story map.
Same.
Reviewers have praised the evocative summer camp setting and the gripping story. The Minneapolis Star-Tribune said, "Moore has written an atmospheric family drama, a social novel, and the best kind of missing person story, one that's fun to read and think about." This is a Gothic tale. You've got your stately family home, a sense of isolation, a hint of the supernatural, lots of tragedy and drama, and the threat of wild nature.
I'm in.
Yeah.
Also, I was a preteen in the 70s. It just seems like someone was always going missing in movies and books set at summer camp.
Yeah.
And I'm wondering now as an adult, is that why I never went to summer camp?
Too much fiction? The author, Liz Moore, her last book was Long Bright River.
Such a good book. I recommended that book in our episode about Pennsylvania. She's really, really good at weaving family stories and feelings into a propulsive thriller.
Yeah, that book was a bestseller and one of Barack Obama's favorite books of 2020.
So who cares that I recommended it? Barack Obama recommended it.
I think it's good that you both have recommended it. If you enjoy a good thriller and you're looking for your next summer read, this is a solid candidate. It just came out last week. It's The God of the Woods by Liz Moore.
The distraction of the week, distraction of the week, distraction of the week.
I recently discovered the podcast Pack One Bag. And when I say I can't wait for new episodes to be released, I really mean it. Like, they come out on Wednesday. I can't wait.
They come out on Wednesday, you listen to them, and then you're a little bit resentful that they only come out once a week.
It's true. It hits my podcast player, and then I'm like, darn it. So, Pack One Bag is a documentary series. It's a love story, an examination of fascism, a celebration of family, and a testament to the power of an archive.
Oh.
Paperwork plays a big role in this story, and I love it.
Okay.
The documentarian narrating this podcast is a filmmaker from Austin. His name is David Modigliani. When he was a kid, his grandfather won the Nobel Prize for economics.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, big deal.
Yeah.
But David was always more interested in other aspects of his grandfather's life. He had a sweeping romance with David's grandmother. And then the two of them escaped from fascist Italy together just before World War II started.
Whoa.
And they had to leave some people behind. And he's always wondered what happened to those people and what really happened with his grandparents, because he knows the romantic part, but he doesn't know the daily details of what they went through in fascist Italy. He'd always intended to talk to his grandparents about it and capture it on film or audio.
Right.
And they died before he could do that.
Ah.
So he has now taken on this investigation so that the story isn't lost to time.
Yeah.
This unfolds like a breathless procedural, and we get to join David on each step of this journey. It starts with him digging through boxes and boxes of his grandparents' letters and papers, which I find very appealing. His father has something like 19 boxes from his grandfather, and it's because he was a Nobel Prize winning economist, it was important to preserve his legacy.
Right.
And the gift of that is that they have all of his personal papers too.
Yeah, that makes sense.
While he's going through the archive, he finds a cache of fascist spy documents.
What?
Yeah. And personal diaries. And then, because he's following the breadcrumb trail, he has to go to Italy. And he meets some members of his family for the first time and has a meeting with the Italian prime minister.
Wow.
Yeah.
How does that work? I can't imagine you get a meeting with the prime minister if you just drop into Italy.
You have to listen to the show.
Okay.
I'm not going to give that away. It's a major plot point. He does a remarkable job of drawing you into his family story and then connecting the dots between that and where we are right now with politics.
Oh, that's cool.
The question he's trying to answer with this show is, if fascism takes over your country, do you stay or do you try to flee? And what happens if you can't?
And how do you know, right? At what point do you become the proverbial boiling frog?
Right. That episode of the series where his grandparents get to the point that they have to leave Italy was one of my favorite parts, because that's the question I always have. Because there's the before and after, and what is the point where you make that decision?
Right. It's easy to see historically.
Right.
You're like, Mussolini's a bad guy. We all know that. But did they know it then?
Right. The audio on this show is so beautifully done. It's like a movie for your ears. I have a hard time with full cast audiobooks.
Mm-hmm.
For some reason, my mind wanders when there are multiple voices. This show draws me in every moment. It's so well constructed. His narration is perfect. It's filled with love and curiosity and gratitude and wonder. And then there's a handful of voice actors, including Stanley Tucci.
This guy has way more connections than I do.
They bring the grandparents and great-grandparents to life through imagined conversations. And then there are field recordings and amazing music. It's really just a treat to listen to it. And then the story is unfolding like a thriller that also has this amazing romance at the heart of it. It's suspenseful. It's emotionally engaging. Sometimes it makes my blood run a little cold because fascist Italy is very scary. There's a description of his young grandmother in her house packing to go. And she's scared and excited, both. But then she looks out the window and sees her dog in the yard and realizes, we're actually leaving these things behind.
She's going to miss the dog.
Yeah. And I got really choked up.
Yeah.
It was a really good moment.
Yeah.
There will eventually be 10 episodes of this show. Number 7 was just released this week, so you can jump in and get caught up. I need everyone to listen to this show so that we can talk about it. So please treat yourself and help me out. It's Pack One Bag, and it's available on all the podcast players right now. Visit strongsenseofplace.com/library for more on the books we talked about today and for links about the Pack One Bag podcast.
Thanks for joining us in the Library of Lost Time. Remember to visit your local library and your independent bookstore to lose some time yourself.
Stay curious. We'll talk to you soon.
Have you ever heard about the 19th century French actress with so many lovers that they formed a lovers' union? Or what about the Aboriginal Australian bandit who faked going into labor just to escape the police, which she did escape from them. It was a great plan. How about the French queen who murdered her rival with poison gloves? I'm Ann Foster, host of the feminist women's history comedy podcast, Vulgar History. Every week I share the saga of a woman from history whose story you probably didn't already know, and you will never forget after you hear it. Sometimes we re-examine well-known people like Cleopatra or Pocahontas, sharing the truth behind their legends. Sometimes we look at the scandalous women you'll never find in a history textbook. Listen to Vulgar History wherever you get podcasts. And if you're curious, the people I was talking about before, the Australian woman is named Marianne Bugg, and the French actress was named Rochelle, no last name, just Rochelle. And the queen who poisoned her rival is Catherine de' Medici. I have episodes about all of them.